presenter. So what I'm gonna need from you is some actual participation. I know it's day three and I'm in the home stretch in terms of who's presenting, but I feed off your energy. And if I get your energy, we're gonna spend a lot of time looking at the live markets, like actual live markets with what I teach you about speed trading. So if that interests you, type a Y in the chat. First, it lets me know you can hear me and see my screen, and it shows me that you are ready to dive in and share what you trade because that is actually super helpful to you, bringing in your learning and seeing how this works in real life. Now, I'll give everyone a second to catch up. Maybe you took this opportunity for like a quick, water break or something, but um, I just want to make sure I have access to the chat, right, David?
Uh, yes, you should. I just posted, the welcome to Hima message. So that's the last
Um,
thing you should be seeing.
Okay. Ah, yeah, I see it there. Okay, great. All right, I see CP wrote in there. There's way more than one person in here, so if you can hear me and see my screen, please type a Y, and then I'll get started here in a moment. Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, CP. Thank you, Gurinder and KK. All right, awesome. Now I'm also gonna say names when I see them, but don't worry, I'll keep last names reserved for privacy. Okay. I think what's going on is I'm seeing a lot of first initial and last names, and that's fine. We'll just call you by what your username is showing. So Sans and Schulzer, it's all good. All right, so I'm super excited to be with you here today. And as you can see here, I am going to teach you about speed trading, how I break through limits and get into the consistent profit zone. Now, like I said, it's going to be super important for me to know that what I teach you now, you can actually put into your own markets. So please go ahead and type in the chat what you trade. Like, this is not a trick question, okay? All the other presenters may have done this in some various form or not. That's cool. I'm different. I want to make sure that I'm teaching you in your markets. So if you can hear me and see my screen, please type in the chat some market you watch or trade and a time frame for it because we're going to keep track of those and we're going to come back to those for examples. Okay. All right. So if you can give me a specific ticker symbol, that would be great. That way I can actually pull it up on my charts shortly. I'm going to keep track of these in a little list. Okay. This is like I've opened the candy store and I'm asking what candy you want. Don't say I want candy. Tell me, what do you trade? Okay, so we see ES. Okay, what time frame? SPY, what time frame? NQ, what time frame chart? Um, okay, so ES looks like a 5 minute. Great. What about anybody else? There's only one person in here who's actively trading. I don't think so. Don't be shy. I won't bite. Okay, great. Now I see you guys waking up here. All right, so stocks, ETF daily, weekly. All right, so I need a specific ticker that I can plot if I do this. Okay, great example here, NVDA daily. So I'm keeping track of these. I'll come back to them. GC futures 3 minute, CL 3 minute, AMD L. Is that the ticker? I'm not sure, but it says 2 minute, and that's fine. We'll check on that later. Okay. And you can drop in any more that you have, and we're going to dive into the training because what I want to first do is actually teach you how to use what I call speed trading. Make sure you understand the concept, show you on some market examples, and then show you on the actual live charts. So let's go ahead and go do that. So, all right, I need a little drum roll action here. You can just type a Y in the chat if you're ready to get started. I'll type a Y as well. Ready to dive in. All right, thank you, thank you. Because you're here for speed trading, how I break through limits and get into the consistent profit zone. So in a moment, you're about to discover the one squiggly line to add to your analysis for a heads up on major market turns. Even in volatile conditions, like we have right now, where it seems like the trend turns on you out of nowhere. You're about to discover a simple way to take your existing chart setup and identify reliable setups that maximize risk reward, whether you trade for the very short term or the long haul. Now, I promise that by the end of our time today, you'll know everything you need to know on how to squeeze more out of the price action you're already staring at by using the speed behind the directional moves and be able to uncover trade setups that you can reliably take over and over again. Because here's the problem. Many traders aren't realizing that being on top of the pace of price moves is vital to entering and exiting most efficiently. It's like trying to surf and not paying attention to the next wave sneaking up behind you. Okay, that's a recipe for a wipeout. Many traders are assuming that they need to get better at studying the direct price action, like the Fibonacci ratios and the Elliott wave and the Gann patterns, like I do. And sure, there's a time and place for that. But first, they need to better use the speed behind the moves because that's what will make all those patterns work even better. Now, no one's ever shown them how to do that until now, and I'm here to share my secrets with you because you're ready to take action now. So notice I'm going to be extremely upfront and transparent with you today. I'm going to show you current case studies. We're going to even look at live markets today. And as you all know, trading involves risk. It is your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or content contained within my presentation. Your results are up to you, right? I can't predict them. I'm not going to predict them. Anyone who says they can is lying to you. I don't know your trading plan, your account size, or your markets. I can only show you what's working for myself and others. Your success is up to you. So who am I and why listen to me, right? Well, I'm Hima Reddy, and I'm a chartered market technician, a veteran Wall Street analyst, and the leading published expert on the trading methods of W.D. Gann, a prolific trader from the early 1900s. I'm known for my expert ability to take the complex and make it simple, so that thousands of traders have been deploying my training that I've shared over the past 26 years of education and private market analysis. Now, it all began when I was learning futures trading from my dad, starting as a teenager. I came to recognize three main approaches to my analysis, a trifecta. Now, it starts with price action, the movement of a security's price over time. And it also included market timing, also known as forecasting, which provided precise targets to manage my trades. But then the pace of the markets changed, and the price action became way faster after COVID, and it picks up pace every time there's uncertainty looming. Hello, war in Iran, anyone, right? So that feels like not just every day, but every hour now, things changing. So what's helped smooth the volatile action while still being a leading indicator is the speed of the market, also known as momentum. So type a Y for me in the chat if you've ever heard of momentum in your trading. Okay, there's various indicators. We're going to talk a little about them, and I'm going to show you my favorite. Awesome. Now, I started to blend what I learned from Gann's works, guided by my father, to squeeze even more out of traditional indicators, bringing them into a new way modern traders look at momentum every moment. This is all detailed in my 4 zones RSI coverage system, which got a major new update this year, and you'll immediately notice how much easier it is to make money trading, and I'll show you that a little later. So what's different about the 4 zones RSI coverage system? This system gives you my Jedi momentum indicator and Gann-inspired techniques that help you efficiently trade turns and large moves in any market on any time frame. But more on that in a bit. First, we're going to dive right in. So trading momentum can be simple, but first you need to understand how it works. A Formula One car racing track will have you understanding momentum in no time. And this is very fitting because I live in Austin, where Formula One is a big deal. So let's go to that racetrack. All right. So let's put ourselves in the driver's seat. So you're in this hot little red car at the starting line. You rev up your engine and you go. You pick up speed really quickly or accelerate on the straight runs, right? You're trying to win the race. But when you see a turn coming up, you prepare accordingly. You ease off the gas to slow down, even if it's just a little bit, so you can have more control as the car whips to the other side of the turn. Then after you make the turn and the road straightens out again, you hit the accelerator once more. So are you getting the idea of how you'd accelerate and decelerate on this track? Okay, awesome, because this translates right to your stock charts. Let me show you. We're going to jump into the helicopter that was looking down at the racetrack and get a bird's eye view of the track. So we're going to replot this road from the aerial view, looking down from the helicopter. You see, the racetrack becomes price as you see it in your stock charts, with price on the right axis and time on the bottom axis. And that important piece of data I talked about, the speed of the market, is generally plotted underneath. And it's from a category of indicators called momentum. Now, momentum refers to the speed at which the price is changing, not the direction. So when prices are rising, you'll have upward momentum or rising momentum that's improving. Now, that upward momentum generally begins to slow down and form a peak, like reaching the top of a mountain, before price does. So this makes momentum a leading indicator. It can give you a heads up on price turns before they happen. What about the other side? Well, during falling prices, there's falling momentum that's becoming a more and more powerful force to the downside. But when a price bottom is approaching, you usually see momentum bottom first. Again, therefore, momentum indicators can warn you about hidden strength or weakness, giving you a heads up, especially when it comes to potential market turns. So understanding the speed or momentum of the market action is what helps you boost your trading results beyond just analyzing price or time alone. Making sense, guys? Type a Y in the chat if you've got this. All right. So you might be thinking, great, Hima, I'm just going to go over to my charting software of choice. I'm going to find an indicator that says momentum, and I'll just drop it to the bottom of my chart. Easy peasy, right? Here's the catch. The study of momentum in trading has been around for a long time, and there are many, many indicators that have been developed. I mean, one could argue that this is an exhaustive list. But really, traders and analysts are tinkering with indicators every day, trying to find the next holy grail. And it's even more in this day and age with all these programming languages, AI, and everything else. So really, the list of potential indicators is never going to end. So which one do you use and how do you use it? Well, just like the car racing track got you understanding momentum, right? The speed of the market, I'm going to bring in another real world scenario to show you the one indicator that rules them all. And now we're going to dive into the indicator, but first let me share with you results from our trading family. Hima, I value your insights. Your momentum indicator is an integral part of what I've put together. I believe I'm ready to go from paper to live trading, said Jim. All right, now that we've made momentum simple and easy to understand, in a moment I'm going to show you how you can make money trading momentum. Now, I'm going to let you peek behind the scenes of my trading and show you how momentum moves through the markets that you know using my special Jedi indicator. Now, to do this, we're going to move off the racetrack, and we're going to hit the football field. Okay? I'm very excited for the April draft this year of the NFL because I'm a Hoosier. Go Indiana. We did amazing. We've got the Natty, right? So football, I know the season's over, but it's still a very front of mind for me. Okay. So if you've got a football field here, okay, American football. Now I'm married to a Wisconsin man, so the team of our household is the Green Bay Packers. They're going to have rivals, right? They're going to have an opposite, if you will. And in the case of the Green Bay Packers, historically, we could say the Chicago Bears. So whether it's these two teams or any other two rivals, the same thing's going to happen. There's one goal when they play. So when the Packers in the green have the football, they want to get through the Bears defense to get to the end zone and score points, right? That's all they care about. When the Bears have the football, they're trying to do the same, but to the other side. They want to get through the Packers defense, bring the ball to the end zone and score points. That's the name of the game. So if you've ever watched American football in person, in your kid's high school or on TV, you've seen the field in this horizontal fashion, and it spans 0 to 100 yards. So just remember that range, okay? Because now we're going to apply this back to momentum. We're going to take this football field, turn it on its head. So we're looking at it vertically. So that same 0 to 100 yard span is now 0 to 100 going up and down instead of side to side. Now we're going to drop this to where we plotted momentum earlier, that subchart, and see how that 0 to 100 football field is now lined up with the momentum indicator axis. Okay, great. Now here's the thing. Just like with football, there are momentum indicators out there that are also bound like this from 0 to 100, the exact same numbers. So let's come back to that long list of indicators and look at just one called the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. So here we have select action from the E-mini S&P 500 futures coming into earlier this year, and this is what I still analyze and trade today. Now down below, I plotted the Relative Strength Index, the traditional indicator. It's called RSI for short, and it is designed to give you a heads up to stay out of the way on sideways markets. Okay, that was the original intent when it was formed in the 1970s. But it has challenges when it comes to trending markets. So even though we are now back in sideways markets, and we'll see that on the live charts in a moment, let's look at this segment of an uptrend, right? If you apply the traditional RSI to a standard trading market or a sideways market, either way, you're going to see these signals called overbought. It's when the squiggly line gets above 70, and that's the red shaded area here on this indicator, which happens to be from wealth charts. Now, what will happen is that suddenly you're going to get in this mode where you want to sell because you're going to see the line up in the red area. The problem is if you're in a strong price move higher, like this one back here, or this one here that I just highlighted in purple, if you own contracts and sold just because the indicator turned red, you'd leave a bunch of money on the table. Or worse, you might try to pick the top and go short on a strong market, eating into your trading capital. So that's a challenge with traditional RSI. So type a Y for me in the chat if traditional momentum indicators have ever got you like this. You know, the overbought, the oversold, right? It seems so simple, but then it doesn't help you stay in a strong trend. I get it, okay? Now let's look at the flip side. The traditional RSI enters what's called oversold territory when it gets below 50, so this green area down here. Again, though, if you happen to be in a strong price trend like this one, which was up, the only signal appeared at the major low, back at the April 2025 tariff announcements week. You would have missed the one later in August or October or December and so on. This is what happens when you stick to the traditional RSI. It's not super helpful in strong trending or strong moving markets. And this isn't just for daily charts, it can be for intraday too. All right, so are you ready for the twist I have to the squiggly line, the one indicator that rules them all? All right, awesome. Let's go. So remember the bears? Remember the 0 to 100 that the bears want to get through to get to their end zone? Well, it's the same for the market bears who are trying to push prices lower. So my twist on the RSI is called the RSI power zones. And with this twist, the indicator now has 4 distinct zones. It's not just about general overbought and oversold areas anymore. Since this section of price action was mostly to the upside, let me introduce the indicator looking at the market bulls. So during uptrends in price, the RSI generally moves from this lower green bright area, called the bull support power zone, to this upper green bright area, called the bull resistance power zone. Support and resistance are simply floors below market action or ceilings above it. And I use those words on the momentum indicator just like you could use them on price chart above, okay? So if you were trading with power zones, those early red indications pushing up into this red area, they wouldn't have scared you out of your longs and you would have kept so much more profit. So type a Y in the chat if you didn't know that you could do that with your indicators. You could take these traditional indicators and dig deeper and find more usable zones in them. Okay, cool, because you're going to get to see this more and more. So here's all 4 of the zones. Now this is overlaid over the traditional RSI. I'm going to show you what the RSI power zones looks like alone in a moment. And wouldn't you love to know how you could actually make these kinds of changes to your indicators on your charting platform with the right settings? Or better yet, just install it and get rocking and rolling? Awesome, because I shared earlier how momentum indicators are leading and can give you a heads up in your trading. This is how we're going to bring speed trading into your financial markets participation. And you don't have to take my word for it that it all works. Here's what just a few of our many members have already accomplished and have to share. I installed the RSI Power Zones indicator, and it's just amazing how accurate it is on all markets. It actually gives advance warning before the price moves, said David. And by the way, the exact numbers and the specific settings that you should be putting in there, I share those with those of you who choose to work with me, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But as a key premise here, I want you to simplify the charts and know that there are these power zones on the momentum indicator, okay? And really, I look at that for every trade setup, every piece of analysis. Every single chart of mine has the RSI power zones on it, and that's the same case for many of my successful students too. So let's dive in deeper here, and let's take a look at a different mix of markets and time frames. You can see how this works. So we're going to start with commodities on a daily time frame, okay? So this is COMEX Gold Futures, and this is a segment before its big run up that it had last year. It's a good way to introduce the indicator. So here we have the bear support power zone, bull support power zone, bear resistance power zone, bull resistance power zone. So it's type a Y in the chat if you're with me on the 4 zones. You understand that we're separating out overbought, oversold. That's gone from our vocabulary now. And we have these 4 zones that we're going to get to know. Okay, great. So here you're going to see how the action moved in that 8-month run up into those historical levels. So the RSI formed a trough. Okay, that's a lower RSI value. So the actual black squiggly line, that point there, has a higher value to the left and a higher value to the right. That's what makes it a trough. And it was located in the bull support power zone, the 2 lower green lines. So that was a clue that there might be a trend change or at least a pause in this little recent downtrend. Now, gold didn't actually rocket higher right away. Okay, it formed a couple more troughs in the bull support power zone and one that actually coincided with a bullish pattern. And we'll talk more about patterns in a moment. From there, gold futures rocketed higher, and the RSI extended from the bull support power zone into the bull resistance power zone. So can you see how this alone would have helped you stay long and bullish, not getting spooked out just because the traditional RSI got overbought? All right, awesome. So gold futures continued higher, as did the RSI, until there was a disconnect between price and momentum, which we'll talk about in a moment. And futures corrected lower from there with the RSI returning to the bull support power zone. and then they begin another journey higher. This is super important because one of the biggest ways to boost your trading is to ride the price trends until they change, and the power zones would have helped you to do that. Okay, so let's look at another example and shift gears here. Here's E-mini NASDAQ futures. And I'm just starting off with futures just to get us going. We'll look at a variety of live markets as well. And here's a 5-minute chart capturing Monday, the day after that Greenland and tariff news that kind of freaked everybody out, right? So there was a gap lower on the intraday chart. We saw the same kind of gap with the Iran news. So it's a similar situation where there's sudden weekend news and then things start shaking on Sunday night. So here's the 4 power zones and the action that was unfolding. As you'll see with the initial gap down, the momentum indicator got really oversold, really low, okay? Dropped below the bull support power zone and bear support power zone, but then it started to climb back up a little bit. And while futures continued lower in that overnight session, the RSI recovered back to the bear resistance power zone, these 2 upper red lines. The pressure from that bear resistance zone persisted into the early New York hours, posting multiple peaks that were near-term opportunities to go short if you are one to maybe trade holiday conditions, or even if you weren't trying to trade holiday conditions, something wild happens over the weekend and you want to be prepared to manage your positions when you come in on Monday, right? So these are all those peaks that formed, and this was on a weird news day coming into a market holiday. So this is just to show you that isn't just for perfectly sunny, beautiful 72-degree situations, right? It even happens these weird times. So here's the thing. Right now I've shown you movement between the green zones and movement between the red zones. And the zones are extremely helpful, even around unexpected market news. But it's not just about moving between the green and red zones, okay? There are still patterns that appear on the RSI power zones that could be used to enter and exit. And we'll talk more about patterns in a moment. So can you see how looking at gold futures this way, or the E-mini NASDAQ, may better help you navigate trades in these markets by paying attention to the zones? Type a Y in the chat if you see that. Okay, awesome. So before we get into our next topic, let me share with you more results from our trading family. Like Shampi, who sent us many charts where she was able to make winning trades using the RSI power zones. Here's just one of them. This is her email that she sent in and me plotting the chart. Hey, just wanted to let you know that the RSI works really well with Forex today. I made over 600 on Euro USD on the hourly chart. All right, by now you're getting it. So we're going to dive into my 3-step approach using RSI power zones to find great trade setups. I'm going to show you actual setups that I use and share with my trading family. And then we'll bring these to live markets as well. So this slide, you may want to capture a screenshot or a photo at the end. It's going to have the 3 steps that we're going to go through over and over and over, okay? So here it is, using RSI power zones to identify trade setups. Step 1, review the chart and assess the price trend. Now, I'm talking about price because price is king. Price is the source of data from which momentum is even calculated and derived. So we're going to benefit much more from trading momentum if we're first clear on the price trend. So when you make this assessment, you're going to have 3 choices you end up with: uptrend, downtrend, or sideways. And yes, sideways is a type of trend, right? You can be prepared for the next directional move if you know how to monitor the momentum of the sideways action. Step 2, evaluate the RSI power zones movement. This is specifically looking at the RSI value, where the black squiggly line is right now relative to the 4 power zones. Each zone has a distinctive upper and lower border, and there are 4 total zones. So you want to look at whether the RSI is in a specific zone, moving into or out of a specific zone, or both. And step 3 is determine the presence of a pattern setup between price and momentum. And usually the best setups come from when momentum and price are not connecting, okay? They're not jiving together. That's usually an opportunity that we could take advantage of for profit. All right, so you've got your 3 steps to using RSI power zones to identify trade setups. And I'm going to repeat these steps. You're going to have them down pat by the end of our training. So I'll go ahead and give you a second here. So type a Y in the chat if you're ready to move on. You've got your screenshot chart. You've got the steps down. We'll be revisiting them, but it does help to have a little snap handy if you'd like. All right. Awesome. Looks like you guys are good to go. You're going to see them again on the slides as well. So let's check out another example. And this time we're going to look at silver futures on a 15-minute chart, because maybe we have folks who trade intraday here. Type A one in the chat if you are an intraday trader. You like looking at charts that are less than 1 day. Okay, great. So here we have an example, and we're going to go through the same steps. Step one, review the chart and assess the price trend. What's this right here? Lower highs and lower lows. This is a classic downtrend. Okay. Step two, evaluate the RSI power zones reading. Now, what did I say? It's looking at the black squiggly line where it is and also looking at where it's recently been. Okay, you want to pay attention to the journey, not just sit there with blinders and look at the exact value alone. So most traders would look at this and say, well, it's lifting up from near the bear support power zone, the two lower red lines. I should probably just be looking for more sells, right? Because it was lower red zone, upper red zone, lower red zone, and I should be looking to go short. But that's where looking at only the zones doesn't give you enough information. It's best when you're able to identify if there's a pattern setup. So determine the presence of a pattern setup between price and momentum. So here, there was a disconnect between price and momentum. So what I often describe as disconnects are very traditional momentum patterns. However, when you then apply the layer of what zone they're happening in, it adds a whole new level of being able to use that trade setup, all right? So this is what unfolded from that pattern that appeared. And again, I teach the patterns in full in my system. But I want you to see how from that low that formed, futures rallied. So even if we don't worry about the extreme low, we just talk about the next low that formed, okay? This right here, 74.965. And that took this 15-minute chart up to 83.190 by midday. Or that night, okay? That alone, just that one little section of price action is a trading opportunity worth $8,225 over about 2.5 days. Pretty good, right? If you're a swing trader on a 15-minute chart. Okay, cool. So here's this one example altogether. And again, I have a whole training that dives into RSI power zones for true mastery. And I'll show you the signal in session number 2 because I cannot teach you everything you need to know within an hour here. Okay, it would do you a disservice and it would shoot you in the retirement. Yes, I said shoot you in the retirement. Money isn't just about money. It's the blood, sweat, and tears it took you to make it, and you cannot afford to lose any of it. So I'm here to help you maximize it. And of course, I can't teach you everything that I've learned in 26 years in an hour. So warning, don't do this at home without help, okay? After all, that's what brought you here today. If you could do this without help, you wouldn't be here. So in a moment, I'm going to show you what you've been missing, and then we can look at how I can teach you more in depth. Making sense, guys? Are you getting this? Can you type away in the chat? We've got our first example down. I'll have another couple here, and then we're going to go to live charts with your markets. Okay, type away in the chat if you're with me. Yay, thank you, thank you. Love it. All right, so now let's look at another combination, different market and time frame. So this is E-mini S&P 500 futures on a 3-minute chart. And yes, my slides are very futures heavy because I'm a futures gal, but we're going to go look at stocks or anything else we want to look at in a moment. Now, if you happen to trade index futures, then paying attention to pre-market open conditions can give you really helpful insights into what may occur once that New York opening bell rings, okay? So same steps. Step 1, review the chart and assess the price trend. You guys tell me this time. Is this an uptrend, downtrend, or sideways? Type U, D, or S in the chat. You should be getting it by now. Yes, this is an uptrend. Awesome. Because we have a low, then a higher low, and the higher high beyond that, and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of a pause at the moment, but it's in the existence of an uptrend. Great. Step 2, evaluate the RSI power zones reading. Where did it recently cap and turn lower? Well, we go to the very end of the squiggly line and we just trace back, like literally just follow the line with your eyeballs, guys. And we can see that this peak here is between these two upper red lines. So that is the bear resistance power zone, right? It's working down after capping there or pausing there or stopping there or topping, whatever your word is, okay? Step 3, determine the presence of an entry signal between price and momentum. Now, there was a pattern showing a disconnect between price and momentum, meaning they were not doing what they're supposed to do together. So when they disagree, that's usually where the trade opportunities lie. And this one was warning that the uptrend was losing steam. Okay, bulls are getting tired. That's when you might want to come in and do a short or put a bearish position on. And I want to take a look at this, okay? We had one piece lower where initially ES futures declined from 7004, that's the top of this green arrow, to 6997.5. That produced a $325 move. All right, cool. But what's even more helpful is that using the RSI power zones, you would have been able to see the trend literally shift and be ready for the opportunity that followed. This guy here. Look at that. So the market recovered after that first smaller move, but it was capped again in the bear resistance power zone, producing another high and another disconnect between price and momentum. This time the high was at 7004.25, and there were multiple moves lower. Again, this is a 3-minute chart past that market open and everything down to 6960.5. That's $2,187.50 decline on a 3-minute chart, meaning this is happening over several hours. And it's not even about getting every penny or every cent. You can get a piece of that. Would you be happy if you got $500 out of that, $1,000, $1,500? Type away in the chat. So when you come into the market, there may or may not be an RSI power zone set up right now, but it definitely helps to see if there was one in the past recent sessions, right? That'll help you better position where you are at the moment. So again, here's this one all together. And again, I have a whole training that dives into all 4 of the RSI power zones, and I'll give you that signal in the system. I'm just showing you here what you didn't know, that trading can be simple when you follow the expert. Okay, great. Now, what I'd like to do is take a few minutes to show you the RSI power zones in action on live charts right now. Clock says March 12th, 2:29 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be a time where I'm going to turn off my slides, bring up my TradeStation, and we're going to rock and roll with live charts, okay? And then if you're interested to know more, I'll ask and we will resume. So let me show you what I'm bringing up here. This is my TradeStation screen, okay? I already have some markets you all asked about. So I'm going to just type those in. And if you're here live, you can go ahead and type any others you'd like to see this on. Don't just type options. Don't just type stocks. Give me a specific ticker and the time frame you'd like to see the example. So I'll type the ticker here in this matrix and then I'll go through these. So this is going to be ESH26. That's the current front month. We're going to look at the SPY. We're going to look at the NASDAQ current front month. We're going to look at NVIDIA. We'll look at GC. And we'll look at oil. Now somebody gave me the ticker AMDL. Okay, it's a legit ticker. And if there are any others that you guys haven't provided yet, this is your moment. So again, give me the ticker and the time frame, please. Otherwise, I'm going to just default to a daily chart. So the person who just typed gold, what time frame? MES futures, what time frame? So Tiana, I'm going to stick to time frame charts because RSI power zones are based on price action for the cycles, so it doesn't really apply to a tick chart. But if for the Qs you want like a shorter intraday chart, let me know. Okay, so 30-minute for GCJ26. Okay, so there was a question about GC for 3-minute and then one about 30 minutes. So we'll do those together. Okay, Yum Daily. QQQ 5-minute. So I'm putting them on a notepad and then I'll bring them back here. Okay, AMDL will look at 2 minutes. Got it. And MES will look at 5 minutes. Okay, great. We have a good amount of examples here. Let's start with these. All right, so here we go. Now what you're seeing is just a chart here that has my RSI power zones indicator. Let me make sure that we are in the right area here. Yes, okay. I'll bring my screen back up. And now you should see it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through these and apply those same techniques and see if there's a setup, but also just talk about what I'm seeing in the market right now. Would that be helpful to you to get my guess, my opinion? This is not facts, but this is my opinion. Type a Y if you're okay with my opinion, and you will trade at your own risk. Okay? All right. So here we go. ESH26 5 minutes. So I'm going to keep changing the chart and the time frame and coming back. So on this 5-minute chart, as I thought we would do earlier in the day, so every morning I share my take on the E-mini S&P 500 with my subscribers in my ES Futures Outlook because it's literally the same analysis I do for my own trading. And I published around 8:03 a.m. today. I like to publish well ahead of any employment data or anything like that. So we had, I think, jobless claims at 8:30 or something. And I was like, you know what? I think we're trading lower. It didn't happen yesterday in a clean fashion, but it happened. And then again today at 8:03. So basically completion of this bar, my view was that we were going to trade lower. And part of it was based on the RSI power zones. So let's look at the RSI power zones here, and let's go to the 3-minute chart after I show you what I saw on the 60, okay? So on the 60-minute chart, look at all these peaks that are in or near the bear resistance power zone. And again, all the settings and how to set up your indicator I have in the system, but you can see it here on my chart. And look at how we've been staying capped by the bear resistance ever since the beginning of this week. Type a Y in the chat if you see that. The two upper red lines are holding the RSI. That's all I mean by capped, okay? So this can apply no matter what market you look at. So we had a question about the 5-minute chart. Let's change to 5-minute. The RSI is going to look different on a different time frame, but the RSI power zones are going to follow the same kind of rules and guidelines, meaning you still want to look for the same types of things. So let's look back at the action since the high we had 2 days ago, right? Everything's lower since then. Now, this has been dramatic moves. So it didn't just live between the bear zones. And that's why I say it's not just enough to be like, oh, well, sell between red and buy between green. No, this is not a red light, green light system, okay? You have to actually think a little bit, but I make it super crystal clear in my full system. And look at all these reaches. We had this recovery into the bull resistance power zone here earlier this morning. And then we actually had a beautiful classic kind of disconnect between price and momentum. This was an offensive setup. I teach exactly how you could take advantage of it in my system. And just eyeballing it, okay, because I cannot do the full dissection here, it probably would have had you take action to go short at the beginning of this bar if you were trading early. If not, if you were waiting for the open, it still would have kept you on the downside, like looking for sell opportunities, and that would have been the more profitable play early in the day. We're going sideways now, but we'll see what happens, okay? So that's the kind of run through I'm going to continue to do here. So now let's look at MES. It's basically the same thing. And let's look at it in the 5-minute. It's going to be very similar, right? The micro ES futures trades just at a slight difference in the price, premium or discount to the bigger contract, but it's the same idea here. Peaked in the bull resistance power zone early in the morning, showed a disconnect between price and momentum, and would have helped you stay to the downside. Let's go to the SPY. For the SPY, I'll go to a daily time frame just to mix it up. I was talking about this the other day. I do a weekly trading show called Ticker Request Live. I started this year. It's every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And in that show, I take ticker requests. If anybody remembers the days of MTV, okay, I'm old enough to have watched MTV when it actually played music videos. Do you guys remember VJs, right? You could like call in on the phone and request your video. Type a Y in the chat. Somebody, please, so I don't feel so old, okay? Even if you didn't call in a video, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Carson Daly ran this show. So I made mine ticker request live. So don't tell MTV, I don't need them coming after me, but that's what we do. So in that show, I give my take. Again, it's just education, it's just an opinion. But what we look at is, it's interesting, each week, some people come back with the same ticker. So a couple days ago, when we closed on March 10th, I was like, look, I still think there's more downside, but you got to kind of check my morning report to see where we're at. And it's unfolding now. Do I think that the market's crashing and this is it and we're not going to see the highs again anytime soon? I don't quite know yet. I kind of, per Gann analysis, I need a little bit more of insight into later this month and into April for that, okay? But I will share my take on my newsletter. So point is here, look at the RSI power zones on a daily chart, okay? I don't care if you don't trade the SPY, but if you are trading, you really need to pay attention to what the S&P 500 is doing. Can you all see how since December 11th on the daily chart, the SPY has not been able to get out of the bear resistance power zone? Please type a Y if you see that. And thank you, Elizabeth. She says, great weekly show. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Look at this. I'm going to bring this over. Peak, 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 right? It's just not letting up. So for me, while the bear resistance power zone stays capping the action on the SPY, I think we have more choppy times ahead. We'll see. I mean, maybe the Fed meeting next week and more what they say will help. And of course, if things wrap up in Iran sooner than later, that would make a big difference. What's going on with oil and the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, there's so many things, right? The S&P 500 is the leading indicator of the US economy. The economy is reflected first by what the S&P is doing. Always remember that, okay? All right, so I've loved on the S&P and the SPY enough. Let's move on to something else. So let's switch it up to a stock. Do we have any stock traders here today? Type a Y in the chat if you trade stocks. So here's NVIDIA, which has been like the most boring thing to watch ever. It's just in this giant sideways range. But let's just look at where it is right now. So most recently peaked in bear resistance, came down. Before it released earnings a while ago, said, hey, look, I expect it to kind of make a support or make a low here in this range, okay? Yeah, here in this range, but it's not really kind of lifting off with a lot of excitement. So we'll have to see, okay? All right, let's look at, there's a question about GC. So we'll look at GCJ26. So that's a specific April contract of gold futures. And the question here, we're on a couple of different time frames. So 30 minutes. So let's just drop down to a 30-minute. All right, we can see that since it's been correcting lower since yesterday, it went down to bear support and then rallied to bull resistance. This little thing right here was super helpful to not get super excited about this recovery into this morning because it was just a recovery and now we're in the next move down. And I think this is probably going to take us lower into like 5060 area over time, over the next day or two. What I'm doing here is not only looking at momentum in my brain, right? I have a trifecta: price, time, and momentum, but I'm highlighting to you what the RSI power zones are doing on live charts right now. So can you guys just type a Y in the chat if you're finding this helpful to take what I'm teaching in the slides and see it in actual real charts, okay? Not everyone does that because it's a little bit of a gamble. I don't know what I'm going to get. And I'm not using my charts. I'm using your tickers. Okay, great. Thank you. So let's keep going. There was a question about oil. Oh, there was just a question about GC on a 3-minute. Let's take the same chart and go to 3-minute. So within that 60-minute move that I talked about, right, that this whole correction higher on the 60-minute or 30-minute chart, look at how now the 5 or 3-minute chart of GC, if all you did was have RSI power zones on your charts, don't you think it would have helped you stay bearish and do so efficiently? I mean, the chart's telling you. I don't have to make a case for it. It's right in front of your eyes. Okay, let's go to oil now, because that'll be interesting. So I'll just do oil continuous contract. And here, obviously lots of action because it's responding to lots of, maneuvers and politics and war actions and everything. Right now it's on the move again. And let's just go down to a 3-minute time frame that was asked for. Guys, even with all of this drama that we couldn't have known about unless we were in the military, back office, I want you to look at how on the intraday chart of oil futures, just this week, just since Tuesday even, you could have, on these upward pushes, stayed in any long positions longer by waiting for bull resistance. Do you see that? Look at that peak right here. Look at that peak right here, okay? It allows you to stay with the trend longer instead of trying to pick the top all the time. Look at this one right here. I can't make this up. This is happening on the chart, okay? Now, this was an interesting one, this last one, because it peaked in bull resistance zone, okay? I want to show you it, but futures kept going higher. It didn't stop the trend. So this whole thing here is something I teach in the system about a phenomenon that happens with momentum indicators, but if you use the right trade management, you can still follow it along, okay? So I have that covered. I just want you to know that. Okay, let's mix it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to check in on you guys. So let's go to a daily chart. Let's go to Yum. Okay. YUM, Yum Brands. Wow, this one's a beauty. Why do I say that? Because the first thing I notice is that it has pulled back in an uptrend, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So type a Y if you guys see that. I'm taking the same steps I taught you and applying them, okay? So this is the low that's supporting the entire structure right now. And what I like that made me excited is that two things are happening. One, The RSI came back to bull support and is trying to form a trough. That's this little guy here. It did form a trough, confirmed today, okay? But more importantly, there is a trend continuation pattern happening right now on Yum where you can use the RSI power zones and price to calculate an upside target on momentum. So type a Y in the chat if that's pretty cool, or if you didn't know that you could do that. You could use a momentum indicator to actually calculate targets. Okay, so it'll take me too much time here to do it, but I just want to show you it's present and it's here, and I teach exactly how to do that in the full system. Okay, awesome. There was questions about ETFs. Let's look at QQQ in a 5-minute chart. So first we'll go to a daily. So QQQ has been range bound. That's why I have these big old yellow blocks. Just chilling between these two zones. Here we go. 1 and 2. So all of this here is not very exciting, but in the short term, I think we're probably still trying to go lower. So let's look at the 5-minute chart that was requested. I think what's happening here is just a pause. And look, the RSI power zones is telling me that too. Bull resistance, or bear resistance zone, bear resistance zone. This whole set of upper red lines has been capping the action, and it keeps pushing lower into the two lower red zones. That's what helps me keep my thumb on the sell button and not get too excited about the buy button. Okay? Awesome, guys. Okay, well, I got a question for you. Let me just kind of check back in here real quick. All right. So I'm a little superhero Hima to the charts. That's the voice that I use when I go back to the charts. And now I'm back for a minute because I want to tell you I'm super excited and very, very passionate about the work that I do to provide traders with the best analysis, education to trade the market so you can take control of your financial freedom and live the life you deserve. So by now, if I've done my job, you are starting to see how the RSI power zones can really boost your trading. Whether you're new to studying momentum or you've been doing it for years, this approach can help you extract more from the markets and be more consistent. So are you interested in knowing how you can dive into this more and bring it to your trading? Please type a Y in the chat. I only want to do it with your permission. If you want to learn more about how you can bring this into your trading and dive in deeper. Okay, amazing. Because all of us want more consistent profits, right? That's what it's all about. And I want to ask you, have I been providing value for you today? Are you learning? Ready for more? Yes? Okay, awesome. Then it's time to fully master RSI power zones. And here's the thing, this can be done to boost your trading for years to come once you deploy it effectively. Like Henry, okay? Henry is a CFD trader out in Australia. Chart says right here, Australia time. And he shared this email message that you see here back in 2017 November. Okay, like 10 years ago almost. He sent this email, he sent this chart, super happy with an RSI Power Zones win. And this same Henry sent another email 3 years later, still profitable using the same techniques. So this is just one example of this not being a one and done. It's something you can apply for the rest of your trading career successfully. So will you be our next success story? Making sense? Are you getting this? How simple it can be to trade when you have help? Great. So imagine and picture this. You finally able to turn your trading around and make the money with trading and live the lifestyle you've always wanted, giving back to your community the ways you've always wanted to. Sounds great, right? Spending all the time you want with your kids and grandkids. Great. So here's what I've got for you. This system that can give you all that is the new 4 Zones RSI coverage system, newly updated. Before I give you this opportunity, let me show you the features and benefits using this system will give you. Rapid results. You can learn to use the system in as fast as 60 minutes and you'll be up and running. It's perfect for any account size, $5,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 or $1 million or more, you can trade this. You pinpoint your trades faster, so it takes less time. Get more profit because it's perfect to add to whatever you're doing right now. Perfect for beginners, so easy that anyone can do it. Perfect for experts to diversify their accounts because the 4 Zones RSI coverage system gives you all this. But first, who is this not for? This is not for those who are trying to get rich quick. Like anything worthwhile in life, trading takes consistent work to get consistent returns. So if you're here to just like play the slot machines, this is not for you. So who is this for? This is for those who are ready to analyze the markets like the expert to optimize and boost their trading. This is for those who want to diversify what they're already doing for additional profits. This is for those who are ready to step up and take action for their own financial freedom. Since you're still sitting here with me, you're taking the time to learn to boost your trading, you're ready to take action now because it's time to remember what you forgot to remember. You can let it be easy. So in my 4 zones RSI coverage system, I give you my 26 years experience on a silver platter, and it's neatly laid out in brand new video tutorials. I just created these at the very end of January, so they are fresh and reflecting current market trading, the most whittled down, simplest yet informative versions of this I've ever taught. And what I do is I go through 3 really simple phases. I start you with the foundations to price and momentum so you can make the most of the zones. I give you my top RSI power zones bull pattern setups from years of study and observation with various real world examples across multiple markets and timeframes, like we did here today. And then I do the same thing and give you the bearish pattern setups with different examples and the exact trade management, the best entry, exit, protective stop strategies so you can extract the most profit from the market using the RSI power zones. And every video tutorial is able to review over and over. Now, to make it even easier, you're also going to get my set of cheat sheets that you can instantly download to use as a handy guide. So they'll include complete pattern snapshots like the one you see here, because missing a step can be the difference between growing or blowing your account. Because when you're executing your trades, especially from a new system, it's important to get it right. So you're going to use the cheat sheets to help you execute what you're learning in the videos. Now, you're going to love this. This is the very thing everyone's always asking me for, but I had to have it specially coded for you. You're also getting the RSI Power Zones indicator on a variety of platforms, all of them that you see here. There's no limit here, guys. You can install the indicator for as many platforms as you like, to as many machines as you like, as many times as you like. All right, I've had many traders email in and offer me thousands of dollars just for the indicator alone, and I'm giving them to you here as part of the complete system. Now, I've included everything to set you up for success. The only thing you could possibly still need is for me to take you by the hand personally and help you. So actually, would you like that? Would that help you if I hopped on the computer with you and showed you live how it's done and answered your questions right there on the spot? Are you sure? Okay, then. I'm going to give you everything, including me. Monthly live group coaching. Once a month, we'll get together online with me personally and we'll spend an hour together. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I demonstrate trade setups on current markets, answer your burning questions, and taking it a step beyond what we did today, right? Where I took a ticker and I did my initial analysis. In monthly group coaching, I'll even take your actual personal trades and setups and I'll analyze them for you right there live to help you grow your account. It's like getting a call from me and my team personally every month, giving you behind the scenes rundown of everything that's moving the needle the most right now, and then showing you how to model in your trading fast. And to really make it useful to you, you're also getting the recordings of the sessions uploaded to your members area so you can review them again and again. Now, the only other way you'd have access to this information would be if you worked in my office shoulder to shoulder with me every day. Now, you can see that I've truly built in everything you need to boost your trading with the 4 Zones RSI coverage system. The 4 Zones RSI coverage system, with the on-demand video tutorials, which I just updated, which take you by the hand through how to best trade with the RSI power zones, is valued at $1,997. The cheat sheets that you can use as a daily trading guide, also freshly updated to learn the system faster and more easily, is valued at $197. The RSI Power Zones indicator, available for the most popular trading platforms, is valued at $497. And live monthly group coaching with me to get you unstuck and even analyze your personal tickers is really priceless, but I'm valuing it at $797 because I easily charge $1,500 an hour for my personal coaching. So altogether, the 4 Zones RSI coverage system is a value of $3,488, and it's worth every penny. And let me ask you, if all this system did for you is help you trade market turns more confidently, even in volatile conditions, would it be worth it? Yes. If all the system did for you is help you finally make money trading with momentum, would it be worth it? Absolutely. If all the system did for you is help you make so much money with trading that you can quit your job, travel the world, and live the lifestyle you deserve, would it be worth the investment? Of course. The total value of the system is $3,488 because I want to make an investment in your future, because I want you to see a return on your investment fast. For a limited time for this Women in Trading conference, I'm making this system available for one low, easy investment of only $297 for lifetime access. So visit himareddy.com/WTT, like Women Teach Trading.com to get started. Now, when you head to himareddy.com/WTT and invest in the system today, I'm going to give you all this because I want to see you finally succeed in your trading. So I'm giving you our personal 100% satisfaction buy it back guarantee. Okay, take action now, use the complete package for 90 days and wear the tires off the system. If you aren't 100% satisfied with your investment, then I'll give you your money back as my gift to you. I mean, I want you to be 150% satisfied with the Four Zones RSI cover system. After all, my clients tend to stick around a long time and become my friends too. So follow the whole system, okay? I want you to get it there. Treat it like a rental car. Watch the videos, do the exercises, follow it, paper trade it, okay? Take it all over the place. And if you don't feel you've gotten far more than your investment, then I'll hop on the phone with you, personally work with you. But what I really want is for you to be totally satisfied, and that's what we guarantee. If that still hasn't happened, then I'll give you your money back. Simple as that. Again, the total value of the system is over $3,488. And until tonight at midnight, for this amazing Women in Trading conference hosted by our friends at Synergy Trading, Timing Research, I'm giving it to you for the simple, easy investment of $297. So go ahead and take action now at himareddy.com/WTT to sign up. Let me show you exactly what will happen when you join us. You're going to get your login info at your email address. You'll be able to head right into the amazing interactive portal where you'll have your video trainings and your cheat sheets, okay? Now, everything that you're going to learn in there is going to teach you how to fish for momentum trade setups. And you're going to get the most out of it if you've got the right guide to get you going. So I'm going to give you our quick start guide. Super simple. I personally went into the portal and I pulled up the 3 fast steps you need to do to dive into the system. They're right here. And this will get you right into the trainings. Now, if you're brand new to my work or you want a refresher, then you can also head to the additional new to the portals guide, where there's a lot more steps to customize your learning experience and get more information. Either way, you'll be able to make the most out of the system out of the gate. Now, today I showed you examples of RSI power zones at work, and it's important for you to know how to do the analysis on your own charts. So you're also going to get my Power Zones Chart Master training with Hima. In this, I dig into the underbelly of my charts, showing you exactly how to set up candlesticks, drawing tools, and more, so you can be ready to trade the RSI Power Zones way. I give you directives so you can translate these to any steps on any charting software, and this is on demand now and ready for you to watch in the Four Zones portal. So the Rapid Results Quick Start Guide to get you using the system right away to boost your trading fast is valued at $197. And the Power Zones Chart Master to get you fully up and running on your screens is valued at $297. So with these added bonuses, the total value of the system is over $3,982. And for a limited time, for here tonight, at the end of this conference, this will go away. I'm giving it to you for one simple, easy investment of only $297 for lifetime access. So go ahead and take action now. You can visit himareddy.com/WTT to sign up. And let me ask you, are you worth the investment? Is your family worth it? Take action, boost your trading now, and I'll see you on the inside. You can visit himareddy.com/WTT. And yes, here is that breakdown for you. Amazing. All right, I see some questions have come through, so let me address those. So do you have a chat room that you put to trade? No, this is me teaching you the skill so that you can do these trades for yourself. If I decide to produce any scanners or alerts or anything in the future, you would be the first to be notified that those are available for sale. This is a course to teach you a skill. I believe in traders having their independency, and if they want, there are plenty of other educators who provide chat rooms, but that's not how I want to spend my day. Do you give the TradeStation indicator too? Yes. So there's a whole list there. So if you go to himareddy.com/WTT, you'll see the list of all the platforms there. And TradeStation is listed as well. When does this end? So this is for tonight. Since I'm the last day of the conference, this is available through Thursday, March 12th. That's today, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. All right. I'll give it a moment to see if we have any other questions and still keep us on time for the next speaker here. Hey, Carolyn, good to see you. Wow, it's very full circle to know that one of my mentors is your next speaker. So you make sure you stick around for her, guys, okay? Awesome. All right, David, do you see any other questions that I have not captured here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well then I'll just leave this up here for a second and I'll just bring up a couple commonly asked questions here for just a quick minute. One is, how long is the monthly group coaching? Guys, we tried to count. I must have done over 50 of these sessions. I do it every month. You do not pay extra. You don't pay another $297 next year. And you might be wondering why. Well, it's a win-win for both of us. If you have questions about this course a year from now, you don't have to worry about getting help. You can still come to monthly group coaching, or you can come heavy in the beginning and get everything sorted. What it does for me is it reminds you, it's a place to remind you of the access you have, right? So it's a win-win, and that's why I will do that session until I physically cannot anymore. Okay. So look forward to seeing many of you in the system here. Thank you to David and team for hosting us. And yeah, women in trading, people in trading, all of us have really a lot of passion to teach you. So stay tuned and thanks again.